Futures trading involves a substantial risk of loss and may not be suitable for all investors. Therefore, carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition.
Good morning. It's Thursday, January 22nd. I'm Phil Streible, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures. So looking at the overnight headlines, the impact on the markets, quite a bit of green on the screen here in the U.S. equity front, while you have precious metals. A bit of a mixed picture here with gold futures under a bit of pressure here, silver futures snapping back. You have copper futures hovering right around that 572 mark. That's down about 0.75%. You got platinum futures down about 0.25%, and palladium futures getting about a 0.5% boost. So bit of a mixed picture when it comes to the precious metals and quite a bit of volatility here yesterday. And it was really the stock market rally that was sparked by Trump's tariff pivot here, extending the gains here, giving traders an optimistic mood over Greenland. Now we will see the core PCE data, inflation data come out here, and earnings season really kicking into high gear later on today. Goldman Sachs raised its December 2026 gold price forecast by more than 10% here, and it was really from $4,900 on up to about $5,400 an ounce. The assumption is that traders are going to continue to add small slivers into their portfolios here as a hedge here and will maintain those positions. Now you look at the 14-day average true range sitting right around $95 in that gold market, and the pivot point is really at that level of 46.9460. The key level of trend support's 44.43. You go to the silver market, that 14-day average true range right around 5.25. The pivot point's going to be 87.39, and the key level of trend support 83.21. So looking at some of the ETF flows here, finally coming back into the silver market a bit. ETFs, they were buying gold, silver, and palladium. They were selling some platinum here. So you look at the gold, the daily percentage change, no real big boost here. They only added about 46,000 troy ounces, and total gold held by ETFs rose about 0.9%, sitting right around 99.8 million ounces. Gold is up about 12% this year, and it tacked on about 1.4% yesterday. So you look at silver here, that daily percentage change gaining 0.6% as far as ETF flows, but year to date, they are still negative with down 1.7%. They added big boost, 4.78 million troy ounces, and it was really that dip where we started to close in on the 90 level here is where we saw quite a bit of activity. Now the platinum holdings, they did decrease for about the 5th straight day. Your gold silver ratio sits right around 51-1 after snapping back from that 49-1 about 2-3 trading sessions ago. You go to other asset classes, big boost in natural gas again here with the FEBNAT gas sitting at 5.51. That's up 64 cents, tacking on about 13%. So really soaring amid this freezing weather and concerns across most of the Midwest here into the Mideast. You also have cryptocurrencies kind of consolidating after that big rug pull we saw a couple days ago. And I think that insiders knew that the crypto market bill was likely to be delayed by about several weeks. So you look at the macro markets, they are firmer overnight after yesterday's reversal. So earnings out of the 52 S&P 500 companies that have reported so far, 83% have managed to beat those analyst forecasts, 12% have missed. So we're going to get some updates on GDP, personal consumption, and PCE due out here later on today. So we really want to watch some of that data coming out. The rate cut expectations, no real change here. We are in a Fed external communication blackout period, meaning we'll not hear from any kind of Fed officials. And you look at the CME's wide Fed watch tool, 5% chance that they cut rates here at the January meeting, and 15% chance that they cut at the March 18th meeting. So we'll have to see what happens. You look at the dollar index, 98.50, no real change there. Euro currency, 117.29. WTI crude oil futures, March is that front month contract, dropping about 1.5%, sitting at 59.68, so back below that $60 pivot. You got 10-year treasury yields easing just a bit at 4.25, coming back down to that range of 4.22% down to 4.11. You look at the VIX futures, we had that jump up here, that brief rise above 20, and I talked about this yesterday. When you see the VIX go over 20, look at the trading activity in the stock indices, because you get some systematic rebalancing that has to happen. You'll see some of those funds, they'll pare down some of their positions to beta adjust things as volatility picks up. Now you look at Bitcoin futures for January, again, anchored right at about that 90,000 level. Key level supports 87,600. We came close to it yesterday before bouncing and the dip buyers came in. The S&P 500 gamma exposure is negative here, but it could start to flip over back to positive. You look at Europe and Asia, well, those European stocks, they advanced for the first time in 5 days. And you look at Asian stocks, they advanced, breaking that 3-day losing streak here with the MSCI Asia Pacific Index tacking out about 1.1%. So we'll see what happens with the gold market. We did see a rotation take place over the last few days where people were really buying the gold market, trimming some of that silver as it consolidates between this like 90-95 area. I saw a lot of dip buyers coming to the copper market. We'll want to look at some key levels of support on that. Also in the Russell 2000, we'll take a look at Bitcoin as well. You do have some of the agricultural products getting a bit of a boost with soybean futures pushing up, canola futures breaking out to the upside as well. So we want to keep an eye on all that. And then finally, sugar just consolidating here between 14.5 and 15. No real follow through to the upside on that market. A lot of traders did pick up some natural gas call spreads about a month ago with me. And we'll want to revisit those as well and see how those are playing out because of this increased surge that we have in prices. So, you guys got any questions? You want to open up a futures trading account? I suggest trying to get an account set up before they have that 100-ounce silver contract launches, because I feel like that's going to be a lot of, and you shouldn't use feelings, but it seems like the perspective from a lot of traders here is that the volatility too high to take on some of these larger futures contracts. So once you get these small ones going here, it'll be easier for smaller scale traders to be able to scale into that market and scale out of it. So it gives a lot of flexibility. It also gives some of these dealers here, where I hear from them where they're buying a lot of physical silver from people, they get these odd lot amounts like 800 ounces, things like that. This will allow them to properly hedge until they can resell a lot of that product. So it's just a lot of efficiency that's coming out there. So guys, got any questions? Shoot an email to info@bluelinefutures.com. Remember, futures and option trading does involve risk of loss, may not be suitable to all investors. Good luck, good trading.
Futures trading involves a substantial risk of loss and may not be suitable for all investors. Therefore, carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition.